At 6:41 a.m., my doorbell cam pinged. Person detected. I expected the trash truck. Instead, I watched our HOA's favorite visor march up to my curb, grab my bin by the lid, and flip it like a pancake. Coffee sprayed out of my mouth. For the third Tuesday in a row, she knocked it over after pickup, scattering coffee grounds and yesterday's spaghetti onto the sidewalk. By sundown, I'd pour a little concrete, click a padlock, and install a trash can she definitely didn't see coming. The kind that pops back upright, sprays intruders with sprinklers, and makes a city code officer very, very interested. Trash day is a ritual on our street. Roll the bin out after dinner Monday, listen to the midnight raccoons critique your leftovers, and drag the empty can back Tuesday afternoon. Simple. Except ours had become the Branch Davidian of trash habits thanks to Diane. Tan visor, clipboard, self-appointed guardian of curb appeal. Week 1. I chalked it up to wind. The bin was on its side, lid flapping like a useless wing. I righted it, rinsed off the coffee grounds, and moved on. Week 2, my doorbell cam caught a hand, manicured, purposeful, grabbing the handle and giving the bin a theatrical shove. Frame by frame, the hand became an arm, the arm became a visor, and the visor became Diane. She didn't even look around. She just toppled it and marched away. I sent a polite email to the management company. Our bin keeps getting knocked after pickup. Video suggests a neighbor. Could you remind folks to leave other people's cans alone? Beige voice Carla replied, cans must be removed promptly after pickup. I reread the email like it might change. Promptly? I worked from home. I was prompt enough. Also, I hadn't asked for a lecture. I'd asked for, don't shove other people's stuff. Week 3, the visored hand struck again. This time she knocked it at 6:40 a.m., just after the truck had passed, when I was making pancakes for my daughter and Packets the golden retriever was practicing sit politely near bacon. The bin spilled. The lid cracked. A raccoon on the HOA payroll would have applauded. I walked outside, waved to Diane, smile, no teeth, and said, "Morning, is there a problem with my trash can?" She gave me the kind of look a bouncer gives, a fake ID. Bins should not be visible from the street. On trash day, they're visible from the street, I said. Not all day, she said. Some of us care about appearances. It's been 50 minutes, I said. Also, please, stop knocking it over, she sniffed. Prove it. So I did. I sent the board a short clip. Diane approach, Diane push, bin flop. Jerry from next door commented under my post in the neighborhood group, I'm investing in popcorn futures. Carla replied privately, the board has received complaints about odor and placement. Please store your bin behind the fence and remove it from the curb promptly. Odor? Placement? It was a city-issued cart with a lid, and according to city code, you can place your bin curbside after 6 p.m. the night before and retrieve it by 7 p.m. the day of. I printed the code and highlighted like a valedictorian with a laminator. I emailed it to Carla with a friendly, I'm within city rules. Please ask Diane not to touch my property. Carla sent back a masterclass in missing the point. We do not adjudicate neighbor disputes. Cool. Time for science. And a little petty engineering. I didn't want revenge. I wanted compliance, comedy, and something that said, I read the rules. Now meet my rules. I bought a heavy-duty, bear-resistant cart, because if it can stop a bear, it can stop a visor. It has a weighted base and a low center of gravity. Fillable ballast compartment? Check. I poured in 30 pounds of play sand. Tip test. I pushed hard. It rocked and popped back up like it had a core routine. A tip-proof cart still rolls. So I sank a small flush-mount ground anchor pad at the curb inside my property line. Think, a flat stainless steel plate in a tiny 10x10 concrete pad, level with the grass, with a locking pin that clicks into a bracket on the cart's front axle. When I'm home, I pop the pin and roll it. When it's staged for pickup, it's locked. No tripping hazard, ADA-friendly, city legal, I checked with Public Works, sent them the plate spec, and got a thumbs up. As long as it's on your side of the walk, you're good. I clipped a cheap tilt sensor to the cart's inner wall, paired it to a battery sprinkler controller on my hose spigot, and set a tiny oscillating sprinkler near the can, angled low. If the cart tilts more than 20 degrees between 6 a.m. and noon on Tuesdays, the sprinkler does its best impression of a polite rain cloud, 5 seconds of mist, not a fire hose. Harmless. Hilarious. I emailed the board, per city code, our cart. Will be curbside on Tuesdays, secured on my property with a safety bracket. Please notify residents not to handle others' bins. I attached Public Works email. I also added a small sign on the cart. Smile, recording. Not a threat, a statement. Tuesday came. The truck did its mechanical ballet at 6:30 a.m. I clicked the anchor pin. I set the tilt deterrent. I made pancakes. The doorbell cam waited. A.M. Diane marched up like a lunar mission. She grabbed the cart handle and yanked. The cart wobbled, refused, and snapped back upright. The tilt sensor beeped. The sprinkler hissed a polite arc that caught her visor like a halo and dotted her blouse with karmic confetti. She yelped, leapt back, stared at the invisible anchor like it had insulted her ancestors, and hustled off squinting at the water, like it was libel. I hit pause. I spent a petty, perfect minute replaying the wobble refuse spritz. Then I texted Jerry. He replied with 12 crying, laughing emojis, and she definitely didn't see that coming. That afternoon, I got the expected email. You have been issued a violation for unauthorized irrigation and hazardous anchoring device visible from the street. Remove within 7 days. They found new nouns. I sent back photo of the flush mount plate, level with sod, not visible from the street. Screenshot of Public Works approval. On your side of the walk. Fine. Video still of Diane pushing a locked city-issued cart on my property, city code on trash times. Pastel highlights. I'm not a monster. I also filed an online littering report with the city about the prior week's food mess and attached the earlier video. A code enforcement officer named Ben called me. We don't cite people for tipping carts unless it creates a mess, he said, but it did create a mess, and it's your property. He came by, watched the visor and spritz clip twice, laughed once, and then got professional. Your anchor is fine where you put it. Your sprinkler is on your grass. The HOA can write rules for aesthetics, but they can't make you violate city code or trespass. If they keep at it, call us. At the violation hearing, Diane sat at the folding table with the board, hair still slightly traumatized from Tuesday. The board president cleared his throat. Your irrigation sprayed a resident. My resident sprayed my trash, I said. He frowned. Trash cans must be stored out of view. Except on trash day per city code, I said, holding up the highlighted printout like it was a kindergarten show and tell. The city owns the right-of-way, not the HOA, and my anchor is on my side. The attorney, finally awake, asked, Why do you need an anchor? I played Clip A, weeks 1 and 2, the tip-overs. I played Clip B, the pop-up and spritz, 5 seconds of lawn-level mist, a kid's level squirt gun. I played Clip C, Ben from Code Enforcement saying, Anchor is fine, HOA can't trespass. Diane interjected, It's an eyesore. It's invisible, I said. That's its whole thing. The board went into executive session. The camcorder hummed. Jerry texted me from the back row. I brought snacks. He handed me a granola bar like a courtroom bailiff who's overinvested in plot. They returned with a compromise that sounded suspiciously like my original plan. Homeowner's anchor is not visible. No violation. Temporary, low level. Irrigation near the cart is not prohibited, but must not spray the sidewalk or street. Carts must be removed by 7 p.m. on collection day, which is, funnily enough, exactly what the city already says. Residents are not to touch other residents' carts. Diane started to object. The attorney touched her elbow. And, the president added, We apologize for any inconvenience. 2 days later, Code Officer Ben left a door hanger and a note. We observed video evidence of deliberate tipping. That caused littering. A warning has been issued to the responsible resident. He didn't name Diane, but Diane avoided my street like it had garlic. The next Tuesday, my cart did not wobble. It did not spritz. It stood there like a tiny wheeled statue honoring the concept of rules. At 6:55 p.m., I unlocked the anchor and rolled it back behind the fence like a law-abiding citizen with a tiny engineering degree. A week after that, a post appeared in the neighborhood group. Anyone have a link to that self-writing can? 5 people DM'd me. I sent them the model, the anchor plate, and my tilt sensor setup. One family added a motion light with a chime that says, "Please step away from the cart," in the voice of a polite robot. Diane hasn't knocked since. A month later, I saw Diane at the mailbox cove. She kept her visor low and her pace high. I said, "Morning," in the voice people use with skittish deer. She nodded, barely. Packets wagged like forgiveness is free. It is, mostly. Jerry asked. If I missed the weekly sprinkler show, I told him I like boring Tuesdays. He said boredom is the greatest revenge. He might be right. I did make one upgrade. A tiny aluminum plaque on the anchor plate that says, "Property of me." It doesn't say, "Smile." It doesn't say, "Don't touch." It just says, "Boundary." The polite kind. City code beats HOA vibes. If your city allows curb placement during a set window, the HOA can't outlaw trash day. Print the code. Highlight it. Bring it to the hearing with a smile. Don't escalate with damage. Escalate with design. Self-writing carts, hidden anchors, and gentle deterrents create compliance without harm. Keep deterrents harmless and legal. No paint, no glue, no traps. Water and notice signs? Fine. Hurting someone? Never. Document everything. Short clips. Beat long rants. So do receipts and city emails. Fix the rule for everyone. A simple "don't touch other people's carts" line in the community rules prevents 90% of this nonsense. If you like stories where petty turns into policy and sprinklers do the Lord's work, hit subscribe, drop a like, and tell me your wildest HOA moment below. I'll bring the anchors, you bring the popcorn.